Hello there, everybody. This is Cholera with Diggity and Moletrap, and we're commentating on set 3 of the Tribe StarCraft Best League Protoss versus Zerg race battle. And this is Stork now going up to challenge none other than July Zerg. July Zerg hasn't faced Stork in a while. Stork did lose to Jaedong in the MSL, though, unfortunately for him. So, Stork, I gotta say, would you call this season of the OSL and the MSL a good season for Stork or not? Because, he made it into the semis. On both sides, I think. Yeah, he made it into the semis and lost to Jangbi in the OSL, in the MSL, sorry, and in the OSL is where he lost to Jaedong in the round of 8. So I'd call that a decent season, but I had slightly higher hopes for Stork, to be honest, given the way he was playing most of the games leading up to his demise.
I think any season when you don't take a championship is a bad season, but at least Stork, yeah, is still showing some good stuff. I have to say, though, his play, it felt like he was playing more creative and solid, though, in those matches. Even up to the end, it seemed like that was the case.
Yeah.
I won't spoil anything beyond that, but we'll see how he does on this map. Unfortunately, this is Chupung-Ryeong, and it seems like whenever you have a secondary that's difficult, well, that's easy to deny, I should say, where you can, again, it's kind of like Neo Harmony. That seems to be the trend that the map makers are stuck on now, is having multiple access angles on your secondaries, basically. So same thing, similar to Neo Harmony, but the access angles around that back edge where Zerglings and Lurkers can get in. I'm not sure why they get stuck on that, where it's like you have these trends in maps that just seem to continue, and then you have like that one standout map every once in a while. But anyway, as a result, it's been very unfavorable for Zerg versus Terran and unfavorable for Protoss versus Zerg. The way July's playing right now, it's kind of scary. So do you think that Stork's going to be able to pull this out, Moletrap?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Stork, he's capable of very top-level play. Sometimes he doesn't play that way, but he's always capable of it. So, anything could happen. It's kind of a matter of how Stork's going to play, to be honest. If Stork's going to bring that A game and really, play at his top level, then I think he will beat July Zerg. But if he doesn't, then the way July Zerg has played the last couple of games, it's going to be really hard for him to win. So it could go either way. For me, it seems like it almost might be more disappointing to be in both Star Leagues and not win either of them. Like, if you're in just one Star League and you get to the round of 8 and then you get out, you're like, okay, well, it was a good run. But if you're in both Star Leagues and you're one of only 2 players to get that far in both Star Leagues, then, it's got to feel bad to, then get... And we had that happen a lot, actually. There was 3 or 4 different players that got out of both Star Leagues, in the same week. And Stork was one of them. Flash, I believe Lita, all got out of both Star Leagues in the same week. So that's got to be almost more disappointing to get out in both. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. But as far as just proving yourself, that is an accomplishment to be able to be one of the only 2 players to get that far in both leagues. So anyway, looks like Stork just setting up for a standard Forge expand here. July Zerg does not appear that he's going to go for any kind of early pressure. It looks like he's probably heading more towards a 12 hatch build at this point. So mixing things up a little bit. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Stork, the last time he played this map, when he played against Jaedong, he went for a... yeah, looks like it was an overpool there. He went for this ridiculous cannon rush, I guess, or proxy cannons underneath Jaedong's ramp. And if you guys haven't watched that game, you should. It's game 2 of their best of 3. And unfortunately, he won game 1. I actually don't think Stork played poorly, actually. I really don't. He won game 1. He lost because he just did a stupid build on this map that, it just didn't work. One Sunken Colony from Jaedong killed everything. He had cannons, gateway, forge, everything he had underneath Jaedong's ramp. There was nothing to do. Oh! He loses his probe. That's uncharacteristic. Generally, you never, ever see Protoss lose their probe to drones. Considering, compare that to Jangbi last game. Looks like July Zerg is not even building that many lings. And now, look at this. Stork doesn't know that, so Stork is putting up 2 cannons. That's going to set him a little bit farther behind than he needed it to be had he not made that little bit of a mistake. So, you know, I don't know. Is he going to be the Stork that wins the OSL, or is he going to be, you know, the Stork that gets a lot of silvers? We'll see which one he is this game, but that was not such a good sign there in the beginning, for me at least.
Yeah, this is terrible. Putting up 2 cannons and Zerg looks like he's going to be able to just power drones after this. He's only producing 2 Zerglings. Looks like he's going to go for another expansion in the upper left-hand corner. Stork right on top of it, though. So just, that was really high metagame thinking there. He's like, okay, what would I do if I was Zerg? I would immediately run out to take a 3rd expansion. He might even be able to deny that expansion. The other problem I see with this map, and I think he saw that go down, so nice on Stork's part. He's going to have good anticipation there. The other issue is he needs to get a 3rd cannon to protect that back line, or he needs to get a zealot out before those Zerglings go end around. I expect Zerg to send those Zerglings to that back edge in a relatively short time. But it looks like Zerg might even be thinking, yeah, maybe he's just trying to trick Stork into thinking he's doing something creative, or he is actually going for something creative. But he's doing a very, very, very good job of information denial, having those Zerglings block off his tech. Stork is still going to have a good sniff at this because he did see that expansion in that upper left-hand corner. But with just 4 Zerglings and pumping drones, otherwise, July is going to be in a pretty good position economically.
Yeah, that was like you said, very I think uncharacteristic is the word for it. I was really surprised he lost his probe that early, especially since the probes generally are just able to outmaneuver drones pretty easily. But anyway, Stork, as Diggity mentioned, was very on top of the metagame there and was kind of on top of what exactly would happen there. He wasn't caught too off guard, making a bunch of extra defense. I mean, he made those 2 cannons, which he didn't need to at that point, but you know, it's just a couple cannons. It's not gonna lose the game for him exactly, not alone. So, but anyways, Zerg now has the 3 bases. He has been pumping a lot of drones. He's only got 3 larvae worth of Zerglings out. He had 2 on his ramp, 2 in the front, and then 2 just kind of running around in the middle of the map. And so he's going to have a lot of drones going on here. Probably going to start. I'm sure he has his gas going now as well, his lair. Yeah, there he goes. If we didn't see that earlier, which we may have, I may have just missed it. But probably going to do kind of a standard thing here. I mean, he's gotten a little bit of an advantage over Stork, and it's going to be a while for Stork to put up any pressure. So he's probably just going to be content to just hang out. And the probe make it in. Oh no! Oh, it does get in. The probe does get in. So the next probe does get in, spots that lair going up, and he may be able to keep it alive long enough to see what tech he puts down from the lair. Although Zerg could, of course, put it in one of his other 2 bases as well, if he's going to put down a spire or something like that. So, but this could be a key moment. If Stork can spot some tech going up from Zerg, then he'll be in a... There, he spots the spire. So, Stork makes up for his earlier probe death by spotting some really crucial information at a crucial time, and is really going to be able to plan accordingly now and know exactly what Zerg's doing.
Well, I mean, I actually say he doesn't know exactly what he's doing. He does know that there is a lair, so he won't expect, like, mass slings. But unfortunately, he didn't get to see the natural expansion. There's a 4th hatch going up for July. Yeah. And he didn't see that there wasn't any gas, so he might still have to put up a cannon or 2 around his main nexus that will probably be not that cost efficient, because it does look like Zerg is going to start up with the same build he did last game. That's sort of a very standard 5-hatch build. He did make a couple of lings, though, so he might be thinking about going for some kind of run by, maybe get into the base and kill some stuff. Always a very July-esque thing to do. And he's done it! And the Korean observers got owned by him too, because he must have done it so quickly they didn't even get to see it. But he got in, and looks like he's done some damage. He certainly spotted everything he needed to, and it does look like Stork is going to go for a fast Zealot build here. He's got a lot of gateways going up, I assume, down there, so it looks like it's probably going to be a speed lot rush here. And I like this build, actually, honestly, on this map. It's pretty good if July goes for a build like this. It goes for the 5-hatch build, because the 5-hatch build's main weakness is it doesn't get units up very quickly. When it does, it gets a ton of units up, but it ramps up a little bit slower than a more direct build, like 3-hatch into, Lurker or 4-hatch Hydra or something like that. But anyway, it looks like, wow, July is going to be able to catch this Corsair, it seems, using a sandwich. Yep, there it goes. So, Stork going to be a bit in the dark, but I think the speed lot rush is going to be good, especially against the upper left expansion, where he's probably going to send most of them.
Yeah, and he needs to attack that upper left because Jelizerg's built a beautiful secondary. He's got 2 hatcheries, creating an absolute,
Oh
look at
man,
that, a nice little funnel right
Oh,
into a sunken
mutas.
colony, and he's
it's
going
got
Mutalisk
mutas.
on top. Just so he's put everything in between to just create a nice blockade. I'm surprised that Jelizerg didn't go for some Zerglings into the hugging that mineral line, actually, because I don't think those cannons quite cover on that southern sector. Maybe he just didn't want to bother microing them and having them get dragged a little bit towards that nexus. But anyway, second sunken colony going down. I can't see this being all too effective because those Mutalisks are just going to have a field day pounding on the outside of that hatchery. Looks like they're catching that Archon out in the field, another Archon being produced. But these Zealots are going to have a very, very, very difficult time pushing in. And I'm not sure what's with this Archon going out in the field by itself. It's kind of like it's almost a declarative suicide mission, maybe to
Scouting
scout out
Archon.
that front door. But yeah, scouting Archon. It's like, go Archon, go to
Wow.
your demise and find something out. Did a lot of damage to the Mutalisks at the very least, but gets picked off. And I don't know if that, if just, I think it was like 1.5 Mutalisks there, so it did some damage, but wasn't able to do anything otherwise. He is heading to that upper left-hand corner. The Mutalisks driving those Zealots off without the Archon protection, though.
Maybe he planned for the the Zealots to catch up to the Archon and didn't expect it to get caught by Mutalisks in the middle of the map there. Here's the second Archon coming to help fend off those Mutalisks as well. Jelizerg, again, you know, he got that scout on, and like Color said, he loves to do that. I think he's the only Zerg I know that really does that a lot, where they'll just send in a squad of speedlings on a suicide mission to scout the base. Except I have seen Hero, of course, do that as well. Anyway, Stork coming in here he's still intent on having some now late speed lots come in there, but Jelizerg's had plenty of time to set up Sunkens and Zerglings and get more Mutalisks in the air and all kinds of stuff like that. So we're seeing kind of a similar thing here, where to last game where Jangbi had a couple Archons and some speed lots, and Jelizerg just ran circles around the Archon and killed off the Zealots, although he's not doing as much of a job of it this time as he was last time. And now, I don't know if he spotted this expansion or if he's just freaking psychic, but he's actually sending his Mutalisks down to this brand new expansion. Only 2 cannons are up, and they're not going to be any match for these Mutalisks. Archon trying to come down and reinforce, and I'm not sure why Jelizerg didn't decide to take out that expansion. I guess he's just too shifty. Can't stay in one place for very long, and he wants to kill some probes, so he's going to go over here and attack the natural expansion. Whoa, nice storm.
Ooh.
Wow, another nice storm. I mean, not doing a ton of damage, but it's going to be enough to do a little bit of damage to all the Mutalisks and buy time for those Archons to come in here. So Stork has not taken a ton of damage, actually, from these Mutalisks.
Very interesting. What July doing here? He's gone for a very fast hive. He doesn't even have ground units other than... He doesn't have ground units. He's got mutas. And is he going to go for a Guardian Rush is the question, because we've seen Guardian Rushes before, and we've seen them fail before, and he is going to go for a Guardian Rush. I'm going to have to call it a Guardian Crackling kind of rush here off of 3 base. And it doesn't work, man. Man. I mean, if he makes it work, he'll be the first one against a good player who's made it work. Because, I mean, Jaedong's done this, and he's made it fail against Free, for example, on Athena 2. That game was just pathetic. It lasted forever too, but it was just very, very disappointing. But anyway, it looks like, at least from what I can see, July is going to be going for some kind of Guardian Ling combo. He's also got double upgrades, probably just for melee and for armor, and he's actually going to do a good amount of damage here in the main base. He's going to pick off the cannons right now, use these Mutalisks before you know, Storm and Archons really do much, but it looks like Stork is going right for his main, and like I said, July doesn't have much in the way of units right now. He might have a lot of Lings and Sunkens. That's pretty much all he's got. Yeah, he's got Lings and Sunkens pretty much. He's probably going to combine that with you know, some Defilers later on, but right now he's a little bit weak, and it does look like Stork is going to take this opportunity to go for an attack. I think he's figured out what July's plan is, and he's going to try to do a timing attack to kill him off before the plan can come to fruition.
What's absolutely crazy is Stork is playing I'm not sure if he forgot or he was just doing to save gas. He has skipped Weapons 1. He does not have Weapons 1 on his Zealots, so he's behind on upgrades. So if Jelizerg does do a tech switch with those 2 Evolution Chambers into Ultralisks, those Zealots are going to be somewhat worthless. Perhaps that's why he's producing so many Archons. He's trying to anticipate that. But his economy has been absolutely shattered up to this point. Jelizerg just has been all over that back main. Now, I think this is going to be the one opportunity, and with this placement, this building placement from Jelizerg, I can't imagine it being successful. I think his best option is just to continue to attack that upper left-hand corner and try to engage the Lings. It looks like some High Templar in the mix, trying to not get picked off. They need to be somewhat careful. But this is what Stork needs to not do. He needs to not. There's the Ultralist Den. He needs to not kind of wander out in the open. Here comes the Lings. This is going to be devastating once those Ultralists come online, because again, no weapons one, no armor one. He's going to have to rely on a very large, I guess having more Archons out in the field to try to deal with it. And if there's any Defilers to supplement that, it will probably be GG. And honestly, Zergling's in a huge counterattack. Stork having to bring all of his attack forces home. Honestly, I think this might be game right here.
That might be game right there. He picked off, he went in with those mutas, sacrificed the mutas to take out the High Templar just as the Zerglings were coming in, and he needed those Templar to stop these Zerglings. Now the Zerglings overrunning his natural expansion, just absolutely destroying everything. Probes are going down, cannons are not being spared. It looks like he is going to fend this off eventually with his main force coming back. But I really have no idea what Stork can do at this point, because the door setup that you mentioned before is just beautiful. There's no way that a Zealot Archon ground force is going to be able to get into that front door. He would need Dragoons. He would need a more Dragoon-heavy army to get in there. So he's not going to be able to succeed with his ground attack at all. I think the upper left corner is pretty well defended against the ground attack as well. He's got a few Sunkens, as long as he gets some Zerglings in there as well. For all we know, he could have an Evo chamber in the way of those Sunkens or something like that. So I don't know if Stork can attack. I don't know if he can assail Jolizerg at any point. Although at this point, you know, they're both at 3 bases, so it's not necessarily a horrible thing for Stork to not be able to kill off one of Jolizerg's bases. He can still win a long-term game if he can just save his own bases and continue killing off Jolizerg's armies in the field and make sure his own bases don't get killed off. But now that Cracklings are in the mix, it's going to be a lot harder for Stork to keep his bases alive, because there's, you know, it doesn't take long for Cracklings to kill off a Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, you're absolutely, your first point is really important. Jolizerg has really bet a lot on his Mutalisks. You know, this is really one of the few times I've seen a Zerg player against a Protoss skip a den entirely. He didn't even build a Hydralisk den. No Lurkers, no Hydras. This is a straight rush into Ultras, and this doesn't work that well. I mean, I've tried doing this a good amount of times. The problem is the Protoss can expand, and July I think, made a mistake by not killing off that bottom right when he had an opportunity to. He does have a lot of Ultras. That is very important. He's at 2-2 already, so once he gets that bonus +2 armor, he's going to go in and make a big assault here. But I also don't see a Defiler's mount. He really should have a Defiler's mount. I think Crackling Swarm is what he wants right now to take out that lower right, for example. I mean, literally 12 Lings and one Defiler would be able to take it out. But instead, he's relying on this Ultra Ling combination, which isn't bad, but it is very resource heavy, and it's not that cost efficient when you don't have more expansions than your Protoss enemy. Anyway, he's going in right now, but he needs Lings to go with these Ultras. He's gonna be able to take out this army, it seems, though, and I think this is a surprise for Stork. So Jolizerg's probably gonna move down to the bottom right now and try to clean up this game. Although Stork now has some DTs, so smart work by Stork switching over tech a little bit, and July's gonna need speed overlords if he doesn't have them yet.
Wow, these Ultralisks are absolutely barreling in. I don't know that two Dark Templar are going to be enough. Then there's no Psystorm, it looks like. Stork is going to take this opportunity to try to do some counter damage. Actually, it looks like those Ultralisks melting pretty quickly. I'm not sure they went off screen. I'm not sure they hit them so hard. I guess they couldn't get through the gap, and 2 Scourge right there to get that shuttle out of the way. But Stork really dodged a bullet there. He lost his entire army, and those Dark Templar are really what's kind of keeping him out in the field right now. I think it's just going to be a matter of time before Jolizerg has the Defiler mound up and I think he can work with just Cracklings alone. The one thing that did surprise me right now is he went in for that attack. I don't feel like he needed to go in for that attack. I think he could have just kept that army roving out in the field, and he could have gotten an expansion up for his own and continued just to destroy them at the armies as they came out with his own large attack forces. Instead, he went barreling into Stork's secondary, which it didn't really feel necessary at that point for me. Maybe he was getting a little antsy, just wanted to end it. Looks like an Observer Observer just kind of hanging out in the field as well. Keep in mind he doesn't have any Scourge to just pick those off, and he hasn't invested any. Well, I guess he does have one.
Oh,
there
he does.
Just as I say it, so never mind. But this Ultralist Force, yeah, pretty highly upgraded. It does have to worry about those Dark Templar a little bit. Looks like that Archon trapped a little bit behind. And there's a nice Reaver out, and the Reaver is really what you want to deal with those Ultralisks. You're going to pound away at them, but it's going to be somewhat vulnerable to these Scourge coming up because that shuttle's not going to last very long, and now that thing's just going to absolutely crawl. But the Ultralisk, at least that Ultralist Force taken care of. Stork's got a degree of map control. He can start pushing up. If he can get some more shuttles and some more Reavers out in the field, he might be able to turn this back around.
It's funny. He said he's got a degree of map control. July Zerg, he really does have a degree in map control. He tends to have map control in Protoss versus Zerg games. He's studied how to do it. I don't know why I thought that was so funny. But anyway, he's finally got a Hydralisk Den. We're finally seeing some Hydras in the mix as well, just a couple. But Stork has diversified his army. Oh, that Reaver just going down. I didn't realize it had so low hit points, but Stork having just a really random mix of units put together here, and he's actually doing really well with them. And once he saw those Ultras come out, he decided to get more Dark Templar and get those Reavers as well. Reaver's able to do a lot of damage to the Ultralisks, and especially with the Zealots blocking for them, can be really effective. So now July Zerg finally trying to take this 4th base, and he's consistently scourging Observers. Now, Stork is up to weapons 2 now, so he's kind of caught up in upgrades. He's still a little bit behind, but he has managed to get his upgrades going. Yeah, still just 2-2, it looks like, for July Zerg, so he's pretty much caught up here. And now he's actually going in to try and take out this 4th base and trying to take a 4th base of his own, but he's going to get surrounded, and that is not going to happen at all. Wow, I think these forces are going to... Well, whoa, he held! Well, I don't know how that happened. There was a ton of forces there. Somehow he held, and if he can take out this 4th base of July Zergs before it can get going, he is really going to have a strong advantage at this point, because he's going to get his 4th base up, and they're both about to mine out their mains.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling July Zerg just said to himself in the beginning of the game, I'm going to try to win with just Lings and Ultras and Mutalisks, because, I mean, and also, I'm not going to use Dark Swarm at all, because it almost seems like he's limiting himself, and I'm not going to expand either. Like, literally, I think he could do a lot better, is what I'm trying to say, but he's almost like choosing not to, because he's really thrown away a large advantage. I think Savior was probably telling Yellow Arnak, you need Defilers to win. And it's frustrating to be in this situation. You know, I feel like, yeah, no, seriously, I feel like July's been around so long that, you know, he's got to, you know, this is a fun match, so he's got to be thinking, well, if I can pull off a game that's, you know, in the pros and just win without, you know, the Hydralisk Den, that'd be pretty sweet. So he came up with this build, but the problem, yeah, the shuttle lives. But the problem is, like you said, Stork has a great unit composition now. He's got the Reavers, and July, by going Hive and not getting Defilers, has cost himself so much opportunity cost, especially when he was so far ahead. He could have ended the game with just a couple of Swarm and Cracklings in the bottom right, and that would have been over. But now he's let Stork pick up a 4th base. He's barely got his 4th up, and you know, Cracklings and Ultras, there's a certain point when they have diminishing returns when the Protoss army is you know, at a certain composition, and this composition is it. This is, you know, the composition of death. Savior knows it all too well. I mean, he lost to Naura in the longest, most epic Zerg versus Protoss ever, of course, the Holy Wars game, which came down to elimination at the end. You know, Free beat Jaedong with it. I mean, this is exactly the ball that you want as the Protoss at the end of the game, and July unfortunately has let Stork take it, and he's also let Stork pick up enough bases to support it. And July doesn't even have his gases up. I mean, this is just, you know, I really feel like he was challenging himself to win without certain units, and unfortunately it looks like this challenge is proving harder than he thought.
Yeah, right now he really wants those Defilers out, specifically for Plague, I think, also for that Dark Swarm, so those Archons don't hit quite so hard. But either way, yeah, with just the Ultras, just the Lings, especially against that Archon combination Reaver force, that it's just not going to cut it. He just needs a lot more than he's going to actually get. And also those Dark Templar in the mix are extremely powerful as well. And wow, surrounding some of July Zerg's forces. July Zerg in full retreat here, having to run the Ultralisks away, which is not something Ultralisks are used to. But yeah, right now Stork has a better economy. It's 4 bases 4, and that puts Protoss significantly ahead. And Stork now has map control. He can expand if he wanted to. I think Jelizerg was a little bit overconfident in his upgrade advantage. He thought he was going to be able to end it there, and ended up, I think, overextending himself a little bit too much. Now he has some defilers out in the field. The question is will he have enough troops to support it? Because look at Stork's army here. Stork's army is pretty significant. He is down just to 2 bases, that bottom right and that mid right. But so is Jelizerg. I think Jelizerg's just down to that interior 12 and that supporting upper left-hand expansion. And I don't think that's going to last too long against this. I don't think he's going to be able to hold it for all that much longer against this attack force. Jelizerg mixing up his troops as well, but especially with not being able to guide the Scourge in to take out that shuttle to stop that Reaver push. I just can't see him getting it done. It looks like Stork is just chasing this army around the map, basically, and it's having to flee, which is absolutely insane, and he's just losing a couple links here to Storm as well.
Jelizerg is racking up another large group of Ultralisks, though, but the thing is the Ultralisks aren't really that effective without the Storm to stop the Zerglings as well. And actually, here he comes in from 2 different sides. Swarm going down. He needs to pull those Archons out from underneath the Swarm, and nice work. See, that's exactly what he needs to do, is pull those Zerglings into a choke and storm the crap out of the choke point. And there goes another one. Oh, jeez. So the Ultralisks are able to power through, but without the Zergling support, they're not quite able to do quite as much. But he has managed to just throw enough troops at Stork that he's managed to whittle down the army. The Archons just fighting for dear life in a ball of Archons. Zealots are slowed down by the High Templar trying to reinforce. And it looks like he may lose that ball after all. Just too many Ultralisks, just too many hit points, and just no matter how much damage he was able to put out, there was just thousands and thousands of hit points, and that clump of Ultralisks. He was not able to dish out enough damage. So Jelizerg actually has managed to defeat Stork's army. It's not going to be too difficult for Stork to make another one. But the power of the Protoss is having that huge
list, honestly.
Having that huge ball.
Attack.
And now that the ball's no longer huge, he can't do as much. But well, I don't know if it was that pimp though, because really, one thing I was thinking about is Stork. He didn't seem to have a huge army to begin with. He had a good ball, but it was only like maybe half supply is what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, the positioning that July has had this entire game has been amazing. Maybe his tech switches have been a little bit curious. Oh, July. Oh, nice cancel. Pimp cancel. That should be a Pimp's play right there, guys. That's a Pimp's play. That cancel. Boom, right? He let those DTs think that they were going to take the hatchery down, but they were wrong. Anyway, July might finally be going for that attack that I've been waiting for, the Defiler crackling attack at the bottom right. I mean, that should have happened 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. That should have been down, that bottom right expansion, because all that's there is cannons. I mean, crackling Defiler just eats the cannons. So anyway, though, I think that July has just had amazing positioning in this game. And that's what really is keeping him in this game, is that his unit position is just amazing. Like, he comes up with the most brilliant flanks, and he's making his units incredibly cost-effective, even against these very high-tech Protoss units. But right now, he's still not economically ahead. He's rebuilding this bottom left. This is his 5th, but it's not going to go up, I think, unless he has to fight for it, basically, because Stork is going to send over some units right now. He's sending over a couple of Zealots. They're going to be pushed off. But Stork is going to, he's rebuilt that Protoss ball, the endgame ball, really quickly, because he's mining off of 4 gas. Yeah, he's mining off of 4 gas, and that's the difference here, that July has allowed him to accumulate, and you can't go 4 base versus 4 base PVZ, no matter how good you are. I mean, unless you're playing against a really bad Protoss, I guess you could, but I mean, I just don't see how you can, though. I mean, it's just so hard. Oh, a Dark Archon out, probably for feedback. That's going to be painful.
Actually, Maelstrom would do it too. Yeah, if he Maelstroms those Ultralisks, it'll be over. Those Ultralisks will just sit there and go nowhere. Either way, that Dark Archon is bad news, period.
There's the feedback. No plague for you.
No plague for you. You're destroyed. Either way, Dark Archons are pretty... I don't know why more players don't use them, because they're just so good against Zerg in general. I think they're just kind of an anti-Zerg unit more so than any other race, just because Maelstrom and feedback
Yeah.
are so strong. But now, yeah, the Defiler consuming. Let's see if he can stop this without Defilers, because he's going to have a hard time sneaking past Stork's feedback here. He's going to have to sacrifice some units just to get that, ooh, nice Plague, though. That's going to make those Zealots more like kittens. But let's see if he can pick off that shuttle as well. Last time Ran-In was perfect picking off that shuttle. Huge attack from both directions. Swarm in position around those Archons to make them less effective. Storms up above. That shuttle still sitting in that position, but it looks like this 12 o'clock expansion is going to get assaulted from behind. Nothing to really stop it. July are trying to shove as many troops up there as possible just to stem the tide for a moment, but I think Stork just has too many troops there, is able to take it out, and I think July was already at risk of starvation, but at this point I don't see that there's any way he can come out of this without getting completely starved out. Ultralisks are expensive. They're the only expensive unit that Zerg has, basically. That's basically what it comes down to. They're the only ones that it's like, how do I reach max psi without Ultralisks? Is it even possible? But the Zerglings, yeah, continuing to pound away, but Stork's army still standing, and it is still devastating, and it is still scary. And that red Dark Archon in the background, yeah, it's almost like a triumphant flag. Pushing into Jelizerg's base here. I don't think there's anything he can do against this army. The Zerglings just melt. The Ultralisks, if they come out, I assume Maelstrom will be up in just a second, and Defilers are going to be fed back. And there's GG. Jelizerg had a pretty good opportunity in the mid-game, but Stork able to weasel his way and fight back. Way to go, Stork.
Yeah, nicely done indeed.
Weasel.
And
I like that.
he just had too many gas units, and wow. And Jelizerg, he did really well, but at the end you could see he didn't have as much crap to throw at Stork, and so he was not able to fend it off forever. So GG.